I love that shirt. So we're even.
So when the season starts, can you tell us a little bit about where Fusco is as far as...
Can you tell me anything about where Fusco's going to be?
He left last season. There were issues with HR, and
I have a feeling those issues are going to return, unfortunately. No, it's really great to play a character like Fusco because he has this sense of duality. You know, is he a good guy doing bad things, or is he a bad guy doing good things? You know, and try to play the character as truthfully as possible, and let the audience determine whether they like him or whether they dislike him. And those are always the best characters to play. I think this year, the old saying, "You can never escape your past." I definitely think that the stuff with HR is going to come back around. We thought Internal Affairs had their, Fusco was on the hook there for a minute there in that third to last episode, and luckily for him that his partner Carter bailed him out, unbeknownst to Fusco, because she saw that quality in him, that he's trying to come back to that once heroic image of himself, the thing that drove him to be a police officer in the first place. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds this year.
What has surprised you about your character's story so far, and just how things have progressed since the beginning?
Well, I think at the beginning he was very reluctant and very anti-Reese and Finch. If you remember in the pilot, he's taking Reese out to Oyster Bay to kill him, and Reese says, "I see the good qualities in you. And if I ever see you harm someone again, I'll be the first one to put a bullet in you." And a couple of times, the first 3 episodes, Fusco tries to line Reese up to get him killed, and then when he realizes he can't do it, he just kind of finally comes around to the idea of, all right, maybe these guys are actually doing some good, So
we heard from Greg that Carter is going to be demoted. So how will that affect the relationship between your character?
It will definitely put a strain on the relationship because I'm sure Carter will be coming to Fusco for information that she'll no longer have access to. Which will put him a little bit more in a vulnerable position. So I think that dynamic in itself is going to lead the storyline to some rather interesting places.
Do you see Carter and Fusco both having to maybe go underground like Reese and Finch?
I don't know about that. I don't know if Fusco's the underground kind of guy. But like I said, I'm really anxious to see where the relationship goes with Carter this year, because she's going to be working in a completely different area of the police department, and is no longer going to have that status of detective to kind of circumvent the system, and she's going to be looking to Fusco, I think, for a lot of that stuff. Okay, we good?
Is there something that you would like to get to do on the show that you haven't got to do yet?
Well, the date thing was something that I had pitched to Greg. That was really excited to be able to do that last year. First of all, our fans are so smart. That's the fans of the show. And so that pitch was something I had made to Greg Clegman. The idea that I had was Fusco goes on a date with this woman. He falls for the woman, and he starts to think that he's going to have this relationship with this woman. He goes by her house to surprise her, and out comes Simmons. And you realize at that moment that she is basically a mole for HR to see exactly how much information Fusco knew or didn't know. Now, we had the date. We could never get the second part of it because our fans blew it up on Twitter. Just soon as the episode aired, the first thing they said was, "I hope she's not a mole for HR." And Greg Clegman called me up and he goes, "Dude, that was a great idea, but the fans just killed you." You know what I mean? And you're like, "Yeah, I guess they did." So.
But see, you should have been able to have more dates then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're talking about bringing the Rhonda character back, but with this show, it's so hard because there's so many different storylines, and it all goes in so many different places that it's hard to cram all that information into a 60-minute show. I mean, really, you could make this a 2-hour show every week and still maintain, I think, the audience's interest. I laugh now. I say, thanks to the NSA, we're all now stars of a reality show, and we should change our names to the Real Housewives of Interest. But it's really it's so much fun to work with these guys because the various backgrounds of our writing staff, and the writing staff is so bright, so intelligent, and even we have such a great pedigree. We have Jonah, who's an incredible writer, and Greg Clayton, who I've worked with before, and then we have this amazing writing staff, and then you got J.J. Abrams looking over his shoulder, saying, "You guys need anything?" And then we've got so many resources to make compelling TV every week. So that's really refreshing to see as an actor.
The popularity of the show, I don't know, does that get you recognized more often, especially being in New York?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I've always been recognized east of the Mississippi I was on a show called Brotherhood for 3 years, and then I did some work on Rescue Me, and then my movies like Mystic River and Ladder 49, and so on and so forth. Mystic River specifically, in New York, New York and Boston, the New England area. I get recognized from Mystic River and Brotherhood all the time. Which is great. Both those characters in that film and the television show were kind of menacing, authoritative, real thug characters, and so people will recognize me, but they're always apprehensive to come to me. They're always like, "Hey, it's Freddie Cook! Don't look at him! Don't look at him!" Like you're gonna beat him up or something, But yeah, it's been great. It really has been fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.